Kentucky basketball held their pro day, and despite not having their two best players on the floor, the Cats looked incredible.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we're going to be recapping Kentucky's pro day that they held. Incredible stuff, honestly, from the Cats. Despite not having their two best players, we got to learn a lot about the depth, individual pieces that I think we're not talking about enough. This was a very, very good showing. You found this on SEC Network if you were watching there or if you were in person. I don't know. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. I want to remind everyone out there that we are free and available on all platforms. And if you're watching on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the show. And if you are listening on podcast, I would also appreciate it if you subscribe there as well. Let's go ahead and get into it. So Kentucky holding their pro day. Let's get some takeaways in here for you guys. And I think the biggest one, and a lot of people I think would agree after watching pro day unfold, is that Trent Noah is incredible. He might be the best shooter on this roster, and I think it's pretty fair to say he's going to be a bigger part of this offense than we thought. He, according to my tally, during the 5-on-5 action that Kentucky had 16 points. He made 4 3-pointers, and I believe the 4 3-pointers were consecutive. I did not mark down misses for all of the different players that performed, but I did mark down makes for the blue and the white team, again, during the 5-on-5 action. Trent Noah was spraying from deep. Really confident pulls, knocking down one after another, after another, after another. He's got some really, really incredible range. And some of it was off of screen, some of it was in transition. Again, some of it was nearly from the logo. Trent Noah is an incredible shooter that we need to be talking about heading into this season, because to be honest with you, the question this offseason is, can the offense be as good as it was a season ago? Can Kentucky find some of that outside shooting that maybe they had a year ago with guys like Kobe Brea? And I don't necessarily think that there's a Kobe Brea on this team, but to be honest with you, if Trent Noah continues to shoot the ball the way that he has, according to reports out of practice, and then did during pro day, you've got a Kobe Brea on your roster. I mean, you've got a guy that can shoot 45+% from deep, and he is pulling over and over and over again. Really, really like the confidence from Trent Noah, and that's something that Mark Pope has also talked about a little bit, right? About how this team needs to be confident shooting the basketball. If you have an open look, you need to take it. That has been the emphasis, even for some of the guys who can't really shoot. Dioubate, I think, notably talked about this a few days ago or a week or so ago, about how Pope's telling him, hey, if you got an open look, shoot it. So Trent Noah, I think, is going to be a bigger part of this offense than we thought, just because of the fact that he can shoot the ball so well. You also kind of have to talk about, okay, if Trent's going to be that impactful, does he maybe steal minutes from somebody that we maybe thought was going to get more action? And I'm not telling you anything definitively. Again, this is going to be up to Pope and then how the season actually unfolds. But I think somebody like Cam Williams, if you're looking at how effective Trent Noah has been, I think that you might look at, if you're Cam Williams, and say, hey, I got to step up. I got to perform. I got to be going out here and doing all kinds of things, not just shooting the ball, but I got to prove my worth here on the court, because Trent is absolutely filling it up in practice, playing really, really hard. So I'm impressed with what Trent Noah brought to the table here during pro day. Also, I just want to talk for a second about how the white team as a whole played. They were 13 of 19 from the floor during, the 5-on-5 action that we saw on TV. They cut to breaks at various points. There have been some statistics that have been thrown out there on social media, and I'm going to be honest with you, I watched this thing pretty closely. I don't quite know how some different outlets got to the statistics that they did watching this 5-on-5. Maybe they were adding in stats from when Kentucky was doing half-court stuff against the practice team, the scout team. I don't know. I wouldn't count that, frankly. I would count stuff where they were actually able to run in full court and were going up and down the floor, trading possessions. But the statistics that I have here just based off watching it. The white team finished the day shooting 13 of 19 from the floor, 8 of 12 from three-point range, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe. Incredible shooting from Trent Noah, but then everybody all around. Dioubate went 1 of 2. Jaland Lowe hit a three-pointer, I believe. Malachi Marino was involved. Denzel Aberdeen got to the foul line. This was a really good showing from the white team, which was Aberdeen, Lowe, Dioubate, Noah, Marino, I believe. Lowe, Dioubate, Aberdeen. Oh, and then Braden Hawthorne as well, who I did not write down, also had 6 points, a couple of three-pointers. We'll get to him later on in the show. Very good showing shooting the ball from the white team. We'll continue to break this down here. What other takeaways do we have from the Wildcats outside of Trent Noah playing really well? Maybe he starts taking playing time from somebody else. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Let's keep it pushing here in just a second. Before we do it, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Prize Picks. This episode's brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right actually can get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. It's really quick. You can make your lineup in under a minute, and my favorite part is that Prize Picks just added stacks. So if I want to ride with a player, I can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. You just used to not be able to do this, and I am absolutely loving it. It's also fun to allow other players in the app and copy their lineups with one click. And the new injury reboot feature is pretty cool as well. If your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, continuing along here on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, would love it if you did so. Talking pro day takeaways for the Kentucky Wildcats. Trent Noah, probably going to be a bigger part of this team than we originally thought, just based on the way that he's shooting the ball that we can see. And then the other takeaway that I had, and I kind of talked about it there for a second about the white team. Kentucky has shooters. They absolutely have shooters all across this roster. Again, like I mentioned, white team going 13 of 19, 8 of 12 from 3. Blue team went 5 of 14 from three-point range, but still, I'm very impressed with how this team shot the ball as a whole. It rounds out there, if you add both of those numbers together, shooting dead at 50% from 3 with a combined 8 and 5 three-pointers between the two teams. Jasper had 2 three-pointers. Colin Chandler had a three-pointer coming off of a screen from the top of the key. That was really nice to see. Yelovich had 2 three-pointers. I mean, you've got Jasper, Chandler, you've got Hawthorne, Noah. I mean, you've got a lot of different guys on this roster that can shoot. Now, again, is there a Kobe Brea? Is there a guy on this roster that you can turn to be that kind of flamethrower in big-time games like Brea was against Florida and in various other spots a season ago? I don't know. If anything, to be honest with you, the closest thing that I kind of saw in terms of catch and shoot outside of Noah was Jasper with his 2 threes. I don't know what his three-point percentage was on the day, but he was pulling, and I really like what he is because he is, as advertised, a spot-up catch and shoot scorer that can maybe create a little bit off the dribble if you give him some opportunities in transition. I love what Jasper could bring for this team off the bench this year because he's shooting at a pretty high clip. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He wants to score. He wants to fill it up. And Pope has talked about this. If he can get hot, I mean, this is probably one of the better scorers in America. And as a freshman, I kind of have pause on that statement as a whole, but as one of the best shooters in America, probably so. Coming off the bench for the Cats. Really love it. Chandler, Noah, Jasper, all these guys, not afraid to shoot it. Offensively, I was impressed. And it wasn't necessarily because of a lack of defense. Again, Kentucky playing pretty hard in this scrimmage as a whole. I really liked what I saw from the Cats in terms of effort. But again, it's really confident shooting. It's some shots that you maybe would not have expected, some really aggressive offense from the Cats at various points. I like what they did here shooting. Inside the arc, it was a little bit of a different story in terms of just how both of these teams operated. So the blue team went 3 of 4 inside the arc. 3 of 4 inside the arc. I believe that Garrison was the recipient of all 3 of those 2-point baskets, which we'll talk about Garrison later in the show. But the white team, this is how I charted it. This is how it went in terms of shots inside the arc. Drawn foul, made basket, miss, miss. Drawn foul, made basket, drawn foul, made basket, drawn foul, foul and 1, miss, foul and 1. Pair that with the blue team. Obviously, the 3-point shooting inconsistent between both squads. But the 2-point shooting, they were either making baskets or they were getting fouled. And obviously, this is a pro day. You can't take definitive, sweeping, season-long conclusions away from a pro day where you only get to see 80% of what's actually happening because you cut to commercial break 5 different times. But if the Wildcats are this dangerous from 3, teams are going to have to adjust a little bit to how they want to approach UK defensively, which will leave slips, which will lead cuts, which will lead guys sliding backdoor to the rim, and we've got some really good passers on this team. Chandler looks improved as a ball handler, not incredibly so, but he looks better. I like what Jasper brings you as a passer. Brandon Garrison obviously has really nice touch as a passer, and I think he's getting better in that department. You've got a lot of different guys on this roster. Obviously, Jaland Lowe, no duh. You've got a lot of different guys on this roster that can distribute and will distribute for Kentucky. So Kentucky's got shooters. They've got players that can really make an impact inside the arc. I really liked what I saw between these two teams that, again, we saw with the 5-on-5. And I'll just run down here as far as the stats go for everybody, and then we'll talk about 2 more players. Yeah, I've got 2 more players that I want to talk about here after we run down here. For the white team, Denzel Aberdeen had 1 point and 1 turnover. Jaland Lowe had 5 points, made a 3-point shot. I believe he was pretty efficient on the day, just as a whole, during the different practice stuff that we were seeing. So I'm not mad at that at all. Dioubate finished the day with, that's 5. That he finished with 8 points total. Braden Hawthorne finished with 6. Again, Trent Noah finished with 16 points on the day. Malachi Marino with 5 points, had 2 baskets, and then had a free throw after his and 1. He missed his first free throw that he took, unfortunately. And then the blue team, Jasper had 6 points and 1 turnover. Cam Williams did not record a point, but he did have a very nice block on Jaland. Colin Chandler here with 3 points and 1 turnover. Andrea Yelvich with 6 points and a turnover. Garrison with 6 points and a turnover. And then Reese Potter also got involved. He did not score a basket. I did not count rebounds. I did not count steals. But you see there, Noah filling it up alongside Dioubate. Garrison playing well. We'll get to some different players here in just a second. Before we do that, though, I'll tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. Guys, college football is here. We're in the thick of the season, and I love it. This is the best time of the year for me, absolutely. It's the tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands. There's just absolutely nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a game, more of a battle, I should say, than the actual contest itself. It's endless queues, it's hidden fees, it's prices jumping at checkout that you didn't expect, and that's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. The app has made it really simple. I could see the exact view from my seat before buying. In fact, I'm actually going to be at the Gonzaga Kentucky game in Nashville in December, and I can go ahead and tell you I like my seat views, and I'm gonna like them even more in person. That's been my experience every single time with the Game Time app. There's no BS. It is exactly what it is as advertised. What you see is what you pay. The seat views are incredible, and they make it really quick to find the different deals that they have. They've got zone deals as well. You can pick the section. Game Time will pick the seats, and you save big. It's faster. It's cheaper. It's less stressful than any other way that I've ever bought tickets ever. So take the guesswork out of buying your college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home. Whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. I told you about this yesterday. There's a coffee shop in the area that I absolutely love. In fact, most of the notes that I write down to talk about here on this show, I go and take at that coffee shop. It's great community. The people that run the place are incredible, super kind. It's just it's a beacon of light here in the downtown area that I live in, and I absolutely love it. Go support your favorite local spot and have yourself a day in the neighborhood. When we show up as a community, it can mean big for business and local businesses and local business owners. Money spent in the neighborhood stays in the neighborhood. If you've got a local coffee shop or a local place that you like to go spend time at, go. Go spend there. Be a part of the community. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, again, go check out your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy that you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. All right, wrapping up today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. Let's get to 2 more players here. Braden Hawthorne looks like he could be a serious problem in about a year. He needs to add more weight to his frame. Still very skinny. He's already gained 15 pounds this offseason. He needs to add more. But at his frame and his skill set with the ball handling and with the shot making, he hit the 2 threes that he took today. He could be dangerous as a scorer in a year. This is the type player that you've seen Kentucky bring in time and time again. I'm not going to tell you that Braden Hawthorne is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but what I will tell you is that he has some of the ability that Shai had as a wiry freshman here at Kentucky. Hawthorne, if he's able to add on a little bit more muscle, he could be more effective driving to the rim. And I think it would make him a more complete player as a whole, especially on defense as well. He could be a very real problem for the SEC in a year, and Kentucky's going to tuck him away on this roster and let him develop. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And something else that we need to note, and Hawthorne has said this, the only way he's leaving Kentucky is if he gets drafted. That's the only way Hawthorne is going to leave this program. So we've got him for at least 2 years. I'm very excited to see what he could be. And frankly, I want to see him get involved pretty early in this non-con slate. I want to see him play minutes, man. I think he could be good. I think he could be really good. The other player that I want to talk about here, Brandon Garrison, again with the 6 points, and then I believe 2 turnovers, actually, not just 1. Garrison, I think it's correct what the reports have been saying. He needs more consistency, but he looks a little better, I think, overall. I think his ball handling's a little better. I think that his touch around the rim is a little bit better. We saw him sink some really nice shots around the basket. I really want to see more consistency, more aggression from him. But as far as how he looks improved. But again, you need some of that consistency. You need some of that decision making to be better. You need the passing to be as crisp as possible. And I know that's really hard to ask from your 5-man, but Pope's going to ask it of him. So we need to see, I think, a bit of a step up there. 2 more takeaways briefly. I think more touch around the rim is needed for this team. More touch shooting inside the arc, I should say. Just based on different drills that we saw, this team was not putting a lot of touch on mid-range jumpers. We need to see that improve. And then the final thing here, this team is more athletic than they were last year. It's clear. After seeing this pro day and seeing the 5-on-5 and seeing how these kids operate, this is a more athletic team than it was a season ago. And Otega Owe and Jaden Quaintance weren't playing. They were on the floor. They were out there talking with scouts and players and whatnot. But the 2 best players on this team were not playing, and Kentucky looked as good as they did. They looked strong. They looked athletic. They looked fast. They looked like they had really good shooters. with your best defender and your best scorer sidelined. This team's going to be pretty freaking good, is what I'm trying to say here. They're going to be pretty good. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited. We are getting closer and closer to that Purdue exhibition. I'm so excited. We'll keep you up to date on everything going on with Kentucky basketball and their practices. We'll continue to keep you up to date on what's going on with Tyron Stokes. He might be committing this weekend. Who knows? Maybe not. According to reports, he might not be a Big Blue Madness. We'll have to see. But I'm very excited to see where Kentucky basketball goes here over the next month or so as they get started with the season coming up. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. You can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On UK. Follow me on Twitter at LanceDawe_, and follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I'll see you all tomorrow for another episode. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless.